Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Parlay. It is week 9 of the NFL season. This is the best television show not on television, Awthentik and The Beard. We are going to be here providing you with tons and tons of fantasy football plays and NFL bets, as I am currently recovering from being target practice on Thursday's show. In case you missed that, you have an opportunity to go back and watch that. But let me just introduce Shooter McGavin himself, 6-shooter Awthentik. Welcome to the party.
I like that. Hey, these ain't no blanks I'm shooting right now. These is real bullets right here, okay? We're not making up no fabricated stories. You know what it is, man. Ready for the parlay, ready to talk some fantasy football, man. I'm off to a horrible start here, man. I tried to take a risky move here with Will Levis at quarterback. That didn't work out too good. Will Levis got me just 9 points on the day.
Yeah, I totally feel your pain, as at least you got 9 points. George Pickens gave me 0.9 points.
Let me tell you why I feel a little bit better about your George Pickens, because at quarterback, you cannot have these dud games from your quarterback. Wide receiver, you can miss on maybe one. Somebody in the flex, you can maybe miss on one or two. When you miss on that quarterback, man, my chances, my percentage went down so much after Will Levis played that Thursday night game. He looked all right, too. I just think the numbers and, fantasy football is a lot different than real football. But I do think the Titans might have something with Will Levis. He looked really comfortable in the pocket, very decisive. I think he needs to work on, his anticipatory type of throws and whatnot. But the kid has an arm. He can definitely throw the football. That's for facts.
Yeah, definitely can throw the football. And, obviously that was a tough defense, too. Let's be honest. Pittsburgh plays tough. They might not be the best defense at something or the other, but they always play tough. Every Mike Tomlin team, no matter what, who's on the other side of that ball, they play tough. So it was a tough fought game for sure. Derrick Henry
I learned
had a
my
good
lesson
game,
too. I'm not doing young quarterbacks against Bill Belichick or against Mike Tomlin. No more of that.
Oh, well, we'll have some discussion about that at some point in today's show, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into the guys that talking about guys that we probably should have sat. Let's go ahead and talk about some guys that we should sit this week in fantasy football. All right, Awthentik. Who will be riding the bench for Team Awthentik?
All right, you're not going to like this. And my homie Mike from our group chat on Twitter, he's definitely not going to like this either. He's been a big fan of this quarterback. I'm sitting Jordan Love versus the Rams this week. Love has not breached 19.6 fantasy points in 4 games in a row now. This is really surprising for me, because he really had a spark when he started here. He had 10 total touchdowns in the first 4 weeks of football. And since then, he's only had 3 total touchdowns in his last 3 games. So I'm putting Jordan Love on the bench this week. There might be a chance he has a bounce back game. We'll see. I am rooting for the kid. I hope he, gets things going in the right direction. That's my doppelganger, according to Twitter, too. I'm also sitting Alexander Madison on the bench against the Falcons. Madison, he's just 1.9 yards per carry against the Green Bay Packers, who are not a really good run defense last week. He ranks 58th out of 61 qualified running backs in rushing yards over expectation this season. And his teammate Cam Akers ranks dead last at 61. Not a good look for the Vikings in their running game. They're going into this game against the Falcons with a backup quarterback. They'll probably try to rely on the run, but I'm not going to be playing risky ball with Alexander Madison. And this one might surprise some people too. I'm going to put Tyler Lockett on the bench today versus the Ravens. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury the last couple of weeks, only averaging 52.9 yards per game. That's his fewest in about 5 years now. Geno Smith has the #1 passer rating versus zone defense, but ranks 31st against man defense. I love statistics like that. The Ravens run a ton of man defense. They run man at the 12th highest rate in the NFL. Not going to yield well for your boy Tyler Lockett, so I got Tyler Lockett on my bench to round it off.
Speaking of backup quarterbacks, I think I'm just going to say, just stay away from the backup quarterbacks. I know it can get kind of tempting and cute, especially when we're talking about DraftKings and stuff like that, because a lot of these guys, they're so cheap. You feel like you can plug in a lot of more high-powered players. But for me, I want to stay away from all backup quarterbacks right now. I think it's
a tough task to do, man.
It is a tough task to do this week, right? But I mean, it's not like some people they think about getting cute and they're like, oh, maybe I should start Brett Rippon.
That's me. Maybe I should start Will Levis. And look, I put him over C.J. Stroud because I'm dealing with Justin Fields, with the injury and whatnot. I've had Stroud on my bench. He's played decent, for the last couple of weeks, but he started off really well, just like Jordan Love. So I was like, man, Will Levis pushing that Dan Marino record, most touchdowns in his first 2 starts as a rookie, goes out there, doesn't even throw a touchdown. So I get it. I did play the risky role.
But Will Levis also did throw 4 touchdowns. I feel a little bit more comfortable, playing Will Levis instead of like Brett Rippon or Taylor Heineke or somebody like tough. That, But let's go ahead and talk about another guy. A guy that I really liked has just had a tough stretch here, and he's probably going to be playing with a backup quarterback. I mentioned Brett Rippon, and that's going to be Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell has had 4 straight games with 2 or less receptions. So Tutu Atwell is just a guy that's not – he had a really couple of good games, and he can get you a touchdown, but it's super risky with that 2 receptions, especially in a PPR league. You just got to stay away from Tutu. Also, another guy who, had a huge game, obviously, against my Washington Commanders. That's DJ Moore. DJ Moore, since that game, the last 3 games, 0 touchdowns and has not eclipsed 51 yards receiving.
I'll tell you something about DJ Moore, though. He had two opportunities last week to score a touchdown. One of them was on the referees, too, that brought one of his touchdowns back. I do think with the kid, Bajent, they can get some things going, but I do understand why you would probably put him on the bench today. I have to keep him in my starting lineup today.
Yeah. Well, I'm kidding. This is a crucial week, too, for bye weeks, because last week there was no byes, which is a really weird thing that they did this year, like in the middle of the season. Yeah, there's no bye weeks last week. And like this week, there's only like, I think it's 10 games during the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock slate. And then obviously you have a Thursday, Sunday night, Monday morning, and then this early game, which the Chiefs are winning currently 21-0 at the half. Let's go ahead and jump into some fantasy football questions. Big shout out to our guy Juan Pena Jr. Always first in the building when it comes to the parlay. Says, who for my wide receiver 1, 2, and flex spots? So you get 2 wide receivers and a flex out of these players. Josh Jacobs, Jerome Ford as running backs 1 and 2. Tyler Lockett, Jacoby Myers, Romeo Doubs, Kareem Hunt, Amari Cooper, Rashid Shaheed, or A.J. Dillon.
Rashid Shaheed been my dude for a couple
years. He's been playing well, too. He's solid.
Big play capability. I don't like that he changed his number. That kind of weirded me out there. All right, so let's go with the running backs. I don't like Josh Jacobs' matchup going against the New York Giants today, although the New York Giants' rush defense has not been great all year long. The last 3 weeks, the Giants' defense has been playing really good. They're one of the better defenses in the NFL right now. But I got Josh Jacobs in my lineup. I can't. There's no way I'm going to sit Josh Jacobs. I think whoever runs the ball better in that game is going to win that game. So, I would definitely go with Josh Jacobs for sure. So we got 2 wide receivers in the flex here, right?
Yep, 2 wide receivers. So he already has Jacobs and Jerome Ford as his
as the running backs 1 and 2. He's looking to put another running back in the flex or possibly. Okay, I got you. Yeah. So I'd go Kareem Hunt in the flex. The 2 wide receivers. I don't like Tyler Lockett this week. Jacoby Myers has been playing well. The Giants defense, though, is just playing really good. Romeo Doubs kind of struggling. Give me Amari Cooper and Rashid Shaheed.
Okay. So then now you got to pick a flex, too.
Kareem Hunt.
Okay. I'm right, 1,000% right with you. I'm going Amari Cooper, Rashid Shaheed, and Kareem Hunt. If there was any sort of speculation, I think Aaron Jones is a little banged up, so might keep an eye on A.J. Dillon. But I like Kareem Hunt. I like Amari Cooper. I like Rashid Shaheed. Big shout out to Juan and wants to talk about tight ends again. No more Darren Waller tight end questions for at least 4 weeks. We have Sam Laporta on a bye. Is he going Dalton Schultz, Gerald Everett, or Parham? I love Parham.
Give me Dalton Schultz.
I am going to go Dalton Schultz as well. He's been a bright spot. He had a rough game last week, but he has multiple double-digit fantasy points this season. So I'm definitely going to go with Schultz as well. Big shout-out to Sergio. Says, good morning, fam. Who do you prefer for flex? Josh Downs or Demarius? I think it's Demario Douglas. Tight end Ferguson or Logan Thomas? Thanks, my guys. You are the real deal. I love Joshua Downs. He is going into this game banged up, and he is a game time decision, and they play at 4 o'clock. So that definitely makes it tough. I am also a big Douglas guy, and we're going to kind of talk about him in a little bit here. It's tough because Douglas is 1 o'clock, Downs is 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think if you have another guy on your team that's in a 4 o'clock position, I would go Downs, and then if he doesn't play, I'd make the swap out. But I think Douglas is such a crapshoot compared to Downs, consistency-wise, and I think Awthentik was looking at some of those numbers before we went live. So I would go Downs in that situation. Ferguson Thomas is a little bit of a difficult one for me because Logan Thomas he's very inconsistent. He has these games where he can give you those double-digit fantasy points. Jake Ferguson is just so targeted in the red zone especially, and I love the matchup for Dallas's tight ends and slot receivers today against Philadelphia's defense. So I'm going to go Ferguson and Downs as my two guys here.
I think with the tight end position there, you can probably just flip a coin because I've had Jake Ferguson on my team for a little while here, and I've had him on the bench because he is getting the targets, but he's just not getting in the end zone. That's the biggest problem here. Last week, he did get into the end zone. Logan Thomas, like the Beard said, definitely inconsistent. This could be the matchup for Jake Ferguson where he shines. Philadelphia Eagles pass defense has not been that great, and this should be a back-and-forth juggernaut type of game. I don't know if y'all were watching the college games yesterday with USC and Washington, very back-and-forth offensively. I'm kind of picturing this Eagles-Dallas game being very similar. So I will go Jake Ferguson on that. The New England Patriots defense is kind of tough. I think they will present some problems for Sam Howell and for Logan Thomas. So give me Jake Ferguson in that regards. Josh Downs for sure over Demario Douglas. Like the Beard said, though, it's a health question here. And I was digging into these numbers before we went on air. Josh Downs coming off 2 huge games. He had 5 receptions for 125 yards 2 weeks ago and a touchdown. And last week he had 7 for 72 yards. He only has 2 touchdowns on the year, but Demario Douglas has yet to reach the end zone. So for me, I would take the risk, especially if you got another player at 4 o'clock you can plug and play. If Josh Downs is hurt, I'm going Josh Downs there.
Big shout out to our guy, C-Bands Never Stay Lacking 45. Says, what's going on, fellas? Do I go Sam Howell or Jordan Love today? Jahan Dotson or Chuba Hubbard at the flex? I'm going Sam Howell all day. Jahan Dotson and Chuba Hubbard is tough for me. Because, listen, Dotson had his breakout game of the year. Last week. He was a guy I thought was going to be playing like that every week. So it's tough for me to kind of just... It's easy when you see a guy perform like that to just be like, okay, we're plugging him and playing him now. But then at the same time, like, you have to be like, damn, is it just like 1 week? What are we going to see? We still haven't seen Sam Howell really put together 2 back-to-back good weeks. I feel like all season long, as far as especially fantasy-wise goes. And Chuba Hubbard is getting the start this week over Miles Sanders. He's a guy I'm going to talk about here in a couple of minutes. It's tough. It's tough. If it's PPR, go Jahan Dotson. If it's standard, I would go Chuba Hubbard.
I'm going Chuba Hubbard. I'll go Sam Howell just because Jordan Love has been struggling. I did have him in my sit-em section here. So I think Sam Howell has an opportunity to have a bigger day. Chuba just off the strength of the volume. I mean, Jahan Dotson, yeah, you had the big game last week, but outside of that, Jahan Dotson's been pretty much invisible all year long. So give me Chuba, give me Sam Howell.
And big shout out once again, C-Bands Number Stay Lagging 45. Tight end, Logan Thomas, Jonnu, or Schultz. I'm going to go Schultz.
Yeah, I'd go Schultz too. I mean, Jonnu has had a surprise year as well, but yeah, I go Schultz as well.
And then big shout out to our guy, no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Beautiful autumn Sunday here in the nation's capital.
Facts.
AATB, what up? Don't forget to like Giants fam. We getting that win today.
I'm with you on that. That's for sure. We definitely getting that dub today.
Appreciate you as always. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. And don't forget, if you guys have any other questions, make sure you guys put those in the chat. Big shout out to our guy, Waterfly. He's coming for me, of course. Oh, this is just like, there's so many brutals in here. Starts in Notre Dame sucked. 999. Go G-Men. Shout out Waterfly. We appreciate you, my guy.
If somebody were to tune into our stream for the first time during that, bro, they'll be like, what the hell is going on? That reminds me of like that What's that, like the ice cream girl that was doing those streams or whatever? Ice cream tastes good.
That stuff?
That's what that is.
It's really weird. Big shout out to our guy, James Funk, always holding us down during the parlay on Facebook. Says, Jerome Ford, Joshua Downs, or Darrell Henderson for my flex. Ooh, that is tough. I love all three of these guys, okay? Ford and Downs are banged up. I love Henderson's matchup this week against Green Bay. I mean, I'm going to go Henderson.
Yeah, this is probably the week to go Henderson. You know, this might all come to a crashing halt very soon here. It's the Royce Freeman Henderson show here one time, so I'd go Henderson as well.
Big shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody across all the platforms, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and of course right here on YouTube. All right, I think we're going to talk about some guys. It is Daylight Savings Day, so there's no.
Is it today?
It is today, yeah.
Oh,
wait.
We're gonna lose an hour? Are we losing?
No, we are. It already happened.
Did it already? Go to show you how.
Listen,
out.
ever since cell phones came out, like real cell phones, not like Nokia cell phones and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
Daylight savings isn't the same anymore because everybody's like, don't forget to turn your clocks back. I mean, like, right. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys. I have like maybe one clock that's not like digital in my entire house.
Yeah, I don't have any of those clocks. They're stored away.
So yeah, I woke up at 7 o'clock today. I woke up at 6 o'clock thinking it was 7 o'clock. My body, but yeah,
that's why I'm feeling a little refreshed, huh? So we gained an extra hour.
Yeah, you did gain an extra
Good
hour.
stuff.
Big shout out to our guy Cernock in the chat. Shout out Cernock, always hooking us up with the fresh gear for Authentic and the Beard.
Go visit Cernock, man.
Oh, one more question before we get to sleepers. Joe Deal says KJ Osborne, AJ Dillon, or Antonio Gibson in the flex.
That's all tough, right there.
That's all tough, Joe.
That's tough. That's tough. Let me look at the one player stats.
I think I'm going to go either AJ Dillon or Antonio Gibson. KJ Osborne's just been kind of disappointing since Justin Jefferson has gone down. And they have a backup quarterback playing today. I don't even know that guy's name. Jordan Hall.
He had a big game last week though.
KJ
8 receptions, 10 targets, 99 yards.
Are we going KJ Osborne?
Give me KJ Osborne. Yeah, that's
okay.
what I was like, because I really ain't familiar with his game too much. Like this year, I really haven't had my eyes on him. So I wanted to look up the numbers there. Give me KJ Osborne, man. This is the week where if you could play these Darrell Hendersons, these KJ Osborne, this is the week, man. Let's go with KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about those daylight savings plays for Week 9 in the NFL. All right, for my first sleeper, the guy we kind of talked about, Mr. Chuba Hubbard is my number one sleeper this week. This guy averages 5+ yards per touch in his career. And he's a guy I talked about a lot, early on in his career. And then, I've been kind of waiting, but he's proven that he can definitely get it done for sure. And the Colts allow 124 yards per game on the ground. That's the 10th most in the National Football League. So I like Chuba Hubbard today. Up next is a guy I talked about on Thursday. We've already talked about him today. Demario Douglas. Okay, this guy's got speed. Okay, he's a guy to keep your eye out on. No Kendrick Bourne this week. Washington allows the most points to wide receivers in the National Football League in fantasy football, and he ran 80% of the routes in the last 2 weeks. So I like Demario Douglas as a sleeper this week, and I'm going to round it out with Van Jefferson, another guy I've talked about a lot over his early career here. It's kind of been overshadowed, and he got traded out of the Rams because they found a guy in Puka, and so they got rid of Van Jefferson. No Drake London for the Atlanta Falcons this week, so Van Jefferson, backup quarterback, and Van Jefferson kind of probably have a lot of balls thrown to each other over the course of practice weeks during the season. So I like Van Jefferson as a sleeper wide receiver plug and play this week. Those are my 3 sleepers for Week 9.
Van Jefferson is interesting. Like, he's one of those players that you always knew was not going to be with the Rams for a long time. I remember he dropped a huge ball, like in the playoffs or something like that, and McVay like brought him over, put his arm around him, and you could just tell McVay was pissed off, but he was trying to keep his cool and whatnot.
I remember
I never
that.
thought Van Jefferson was going to be there for too long, but it's good to see him in a new scenery. For me, I'm going Darrell Henderson Jr. Against the Packers. Packers' run defense is not that good. Brett Rippon getting the start most likely, man. You got to rely on the run here. Packers are allowing the 6th most fantasy points to running backs. Darrell Henderson, if it's not Darrell Henderson, Royce Freeman out here. I also like OBJ versus the Seahawks, man. And this is really just a gut feeling for me with OBJ. He was in the media this week a lot talking about not having a touchdown at all on the entire season. They paid this guy, almost like $20 million a year to come over there for a year, whatnot. 4 targets last week, 0 receptions. He has just 14 receptions on the entire year for just 162 yards. That's just a gut feeling. I was, breaking out all my boxes and whatnot. I finally got the studio like almost, I'd say all the way set up right now. And I saw the OBJ jersey, so I thought it was like an omen. It was a sign, kind of when I opened the box up, it was kind of like this light kind of came out. The glow came out of the box. I saw the authentication card and whatnot. So I'm going OBJ against the Seahawks today. And I really like Baker Mayfield, man, going up against the Texans. His best games have been on the road this year. Baker has multiple touchdowns in every road game this season. At the Vikings, he had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. At the Saints, he had 246, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And at the Bills, he had 237 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interception. So Baker's been a serviceable quarterback this year, man. He's only making like $3.5-4 million over there. I don't want to talk about no bridge quarterback situations too much. We definitely beat that horse to death the other day on our last preview show and whatnot. But, I like Baker Mayfield going up against the Texans. I really regret not starting C.J. Stroud and going with Will Levis. Probably going to cost me my fantasy W this week, but it is what it is. That'll round out my sleepers.
And big shout out to Marjorie. Says that it is being confirmed that Brett Rippon will start versus the Packers today per sources. Big shout out to our guy Marcus checking in from Facebook. Says, good morning. Half point PPR, Schultz, Pitts, Taysom, or Jake Ferguson. I'm going Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts has a big game today. Backup quarterbacks love their tight ends.
Kyle Pitts is probably going to have a big game today. You got some options, bro.
That's right good options. Taysom Hill's been playing pretty well at that tight end position.
Yeah, give me Pitts. I'll go Pitts.
We're going to go Pitts. Pitts for the win today. I plugged him in a couple of fantasy lineups already, so let's go Kyle. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, now that we have gone over the sit-ems and the sleepers, it is time to talk about the top signal callers for Week 9 in the National Football League. Let's go. All right, Awthentik, who's breaking out of your huddle first?
I think when we went over this in the pre-production meeting, the 5 minutes where we meet up backstage, we had some similar quarterbacks here. I got Dak Prescott against the Eagles today. I picked the Dallas Cowboys to win this game on the road. I think they're going to go out here and probably, I don't want to call it an upset, but yeah, this should be a close game. But I like Dak Prescott. He's coming off a huge game last week, 25 of 31 for 304 yards, 4 touchdowns versus the Rams. Since week 4, the Eagles have allowed the 9th highest passing yards per game and the 7th most passing touchdowns. So that defense has definitely not been making things easy for Jalen Hurts in that offense. So I'm going Dak Prescott. I thought about going Jalen Hurts in this section too, but since I'm picking the Cowboys to win this game, I got to, stay consistent on the parlay here. I like Lamar Jackson going up against the Seahawks today. I said OBJ is going to get that touchdown. Somebody got to throw it to him. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time moments, and I think this is a really big game for Lamar Jackson. Seattle has allowed the 2nd fewest fantasy points passing, and I think it's not going to matter today. Lamar Jackson's about to go crazy. Give me a touchdown on the ground and 2 through the air. And I think Joe Burrow is going to have the best game of all quarterbacks in this entire Week 9. He's going up against the Bills, 8 touchdowns to 2 interceptions in his last 3 games. Hasn't been sacked more than 3 times in any game this year. which is a accomplishment for a guy like Joe Burrow. We saw him get sacked 9 times in a playoff game and still come away with the victory. Started off a little bit slow, has definitely been getting things back on track here. He's got 3 straight games with at least 2 passing touchdowns, and y'all know how much I like to talk about those consecutive games with multiple passing touchdowns.
We definitely do. And, well, since you didn't go Jalen Hurts, I'll do everybody a favor, and I will go Jalen Hurts as one of my top quarterback plays.
These are y'all flowers right here, Cowboys fans. Here they come. Here they come.
Jalen Hurts has 21 fantasy points in 7 of his 8 games this year. He has 3 rushing touchdowns in his last 4 games, and that means a lot going against this Dallas defense, which is one of the worst red zone defenses in the National Football League. So definitely look for Jalen Hurts to get a couple of rushing touchdowns on the day. And you know those give you a little bit of extra points in some leagues in comparison to the passing touchdowns by quarterbacks. I also really like Lamar Jackson this week. Once again, it does not seem like the ideal matchup on paper, but he's still averaging 21 fantasy points per game. And at home, he has 32 or more fantasy points in 2 of his 3 home games this year. And 2 in his last 2 home games. The only other home game was the week 1 game, and he kind of struggled a little bit. But besides that, he's averaging 32 or more fantasy points a game this year at home. So I like Lamar Jackson.
I think we've had Lamar Jackson probably the most in these top sections that we do here. I think Lamar Jackson is probably, we've seen him the most on both of our lists.
Well, this is a guy who I think this might be his first time in the top quarterback plays.
I pretty much guarantee it. First and last. Let me not do that.
We're talking about Sam Howell, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Howell. Believe it or not, Sam Howell has the 7th most fantasy points this season.
The 7th most.
Okay, let's restart that. Sam Howell is the 7th best fantasy quarterback this year so far when it comes to fantasy points. Last week, Sam Howell was the number 1 fantasy quarterback in the entire league. So shout out to Sam Howell for that. Washington obviously passes the ball more than any other team in the National Football League. And New England has allowed the 10th most touchdown passes of any team in the NFL this week. So I like Sam Howell to have another big week.
Do you remember off the top what his numbers were last week?
No. I know it was like 300 plus yards. I think it was 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, so somewhere along those lines. He had a big week last week.
Yeah, I remember he had a big game. He tends to show up against them Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, so I know that, obviously he hasn't done it in back-to-back games, but I don't know. Let's call it a little bit of an intuition. I mean, he's performing. He's performing when it comes to fantasy-wise.
We see the outfit you're wearing today on the show. I wouldn't call it intuition. I would call it fandom.
It's not. I mean, he is the 7th best fantasy quarterback so far this year.
How did you word it the first time? It was so much better. I hate that you corrected it. He's the first best, 7th best. I like that way better.
It was very, very much a beardism for sure. So those are our top quarterback plays this week in fantasy football. We are now going to run on. He was 39 of 52 for 397 yards and 4 touchdowns.
397. No interceptions?
1 pick.
1 pick. So right up there with that Dak game and then that. So was that all? Were all NFC East quarterbacks top last week? Because
I don't know.
Jalen Hurts had a huge game.
That'd be a good little thing
Dak
to look
Prescott
at.
had a huge game as well.
Yeah, I'd say they probably were. I think Josh Allen had a big game last week,
He did. Yeah, he had a big game too. Yep.
So, but definitely NFC East heavy quarterbacks last week for sure.
I'm feeling some kind of way not being a part of that.
Well, I mean, listen, don't worry. Daniel Jones is back, right?
Yeah, he's back. We'll see going up against the Raiders defense, top 10 pass defense. So I think we're going to run the ball a lot today.
Yeah. Speaking of running the ball, let's talk about the top running back plays in the NFL fantasy football this week. All right, I'm going to start this off with a guy I really like. His name is Jonathan Taylor, okay? He's only played a few games this year, but he's starting to get his mojo back. A big shout out to Zach Moss, though, because Zach Moss, and I think this is smart by the Colts, they're still feeding Zach Moss the ball, which is something that kind of keep an eye out on to see how much the workload changes for Jonathan Taylor. But the Panthers allow the 4th most rushing yards in the National Football League. They're giving up 139.4 yards per game on the ground. Last week, Jonathan Taylor had 95 yards in the first half. but he only carried the ball once in the second half. So looking to see if they can get some more balance between first half and second half, how that affects his numbers. And I'm expecting him to have a big game this week. I'm going to also throw in Alvin Kamara just because I love that Kamara, Eckler, McCaffrey, one of those three guys usually always makes it in the top three for me because all of them catch the ball like wide receivers. Alvin Kamara has 23 catches in the last 3 games. 23 catches in the last 3 games. He's averaging 22.8 fantasy points per game. So I love Alvin Kamara this week. And then we're going to round it off with a guy that I think most of us agree is an automatic top consideration guy this week, and that's going to be Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is going up against the Raiders. Rush defense, 3rd worst in the National Football League, 140.6 yards per game allowed. He has had 20 or more carries and 3 or more catches in every game since his return, Saquon Barkley does. So I expect Saquon Barkley to carry this team this week. And those are my top 3 running back plays in fantasy football week 9.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with Saquon Barkley. Since he's returned, he's averaging 30.3 touches per game and 114.6 total yards. So they definitely been feeding him. We saw a whole second half that featured Saquon Barkley going up against the Jets defense, which is a better defense. But when it comes to the run, the Jets defense is not really that good. They're in the bottom third of the league as far as going up against the run. But I like Saquon Barkley against the Raiders today. I like Jonathan Taylor at Panthers as well. You talked about the snap percentage last week. He played 61% of the snaps last week. The problem was they were losing to the Saints. So, when you get down on that scoreboard, you got to throw that ball to try to get back in the game. They ended up losing 38-27. He had 13 touches for 97 total yards, 95 of those coming in the first half. So if they can find a way to just keep themselves in games and keep the scoreboard a little bit closer, Jonathan Taylor should be able to definitely get the ball more. I like the 60-40 split too, like having Moss on the field for about 40%, 39, that's not too bad. And I like Austin Eckler going up against the Jets. When I was looking at that Jets defense, when I was featuring, Saquon here in my top 3, Jets have the 2nd worst rush defense in the NFL. So this is a good matchup for Austin Eckler. He only had 29 yards on 15 rushes last week, right? This dude is almost like not a running back, but he caught 7 of his 8 targets for 94 yards, and he had a touchdown. Giants ran for 203 yards on that Jets defense last week, so I think Austin Eckler is going to have a big day.
Big shout-out, Austin Eckler, and big shout-out to our guy Chris checking in and says, oh, man, Gardner Minshew, Taylor Heineke, or Mac Jones this week. I think,
now, you got a theory. I want you to stick to it before you answer. You said no backup quarterbacks. That forces you to go against your own squad here.
Well, Minshew is not necessarily a backup quarterback. He's been playing for multiple games this season already. I'm talking more like these new guys, like Aiden O'Connell's and Clayton Tunes and Jaron Halls and Tyson Badgins. Jesus, there's a lot of these.
Badgins has played 3 games. He's played 3 games.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going the mustache over everything.
I knew
always.
He was going to do that.
Of course. I mean, listen, if there's any debate, I think you look at Mac Jones, obviously, because Washington's pass defense is horrendous. So it's a possibility. But we all know Mac Jones is about as inconsistent gets in the National Football League right now. He is like the poster boy for mediocrity. And then, Taylor Heineke, he's a spark. He's a possibility, but I'm staying away from Taylor Heineke. But that might also be a little bit biased.
Let's just say the truth here. You don't like Taylor Heineke, the person.
I love the person. I love the guy. Great guy. I'm not a big football fan of his, though.
Taylor Heineke. Mac Jones is going against my team. Default, I got to go Gardner Minshew. He's got a mustache. I've got a beard. It's Awthentik and The Beard. I'm going with the stash. Chris, I'm going with the stash as well, man. Gardner Minshew has played some – it's funny you said the poster child for mediocrity. I think that's what Gardner Minshew has been because people look at mediocrity as a bad word. Like that's a negative, kind of tone to the word and whatnot. Like it's under average. Mediocrity just means what it is. It's just, your average ball player. And I think Minshew is that. He's been stable. You kind of know what you're going to get from him. You might get an interception every game, but you're going to get at least 1 or 2 touchdowns. So give me Gardner Minshew as well. For different reasons than The
Beard. Okay. All right, let's talk about the guys that catch the balls from these guys, Minshew, Heineke, and Mac Jones. Who's going to be the top 3 wide receivers in Week 9 fantasy football? The Miami Dolphins still haven't scored a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been an ugly game for them offensively. They're right around midfield, down 21-0 with 8 minutes left in the third quarter.
Who you got top 3 wide receivers? We're on the same page in this one, I'm pretty sure, right? Yep.
Yeah, I think we picked 3 of the same players. So let's go. We'll just go one by one, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to start off with Jamar Chase, who I think might be the guy who will be in the number 1 slot this week. Wide receiver play across the NFL has been really good this year. Jamar Chase caught 10 of his 12 targets last week for 100 yards, 1 touchdown versus the 49ers last week. And he also had 192 yards versus the Cardinals just a couple of weeks ago. He has at least 12 targets in 4 of his last 5 outings, man. Give me Jamar Chase in the number 1 spot.
Yep. And you talked about it. Jamar Chase, last 3 games, 31 catches, 372 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So I am also going Jamar Chase. And then we'll do a little snake draft here.
I like that.
Up next is probably the easiest one. Mr. A.J. Brown. Literally on my sheet, it just says, you should know by now. That's the notes I have for A.J. Brown. He's a must play. The guy, listen, we talked about it since day one. I thought it was the best move that they could have made. It was a fantastic move, and it's getting better, and it's getting better, and it's getting better, and he's having an absolutely insane year. If it wasn't for Tyreek Hill, everybody would be talking about A.J. Brown being the best wide receiver in the National Football League.
And I still think he's making a case for that. You know, entering the year, we kind of talked about Devonta Smith being 1A, 1B with A.J. Brown here. I think A.J. Brown has taken that solidified spot. He is the wide receiver 1 alpha over there with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's got 6 straight games over 125 yards. He's got 5 touchdowns during that stretch. 2 games all year where he didn't breach 100 yards. And he caught all 8 of his targets last week versus Washington, including that one-handed touchdown on the left pylon over there, man. This dude, I'm telling you, I think when he shifted to wearing that blackout visor, turned into the Terminator, man. Big shout out to A.J. Brown, man. That was a great pickup by the Philadelphia Eagles. Great wide receiver.
Absolutely. And your turn, the snake draft.
Oh, yeah, yep. A little snake draft here. Got to go with another guy in that same exact game, man. I'm going CD Lamb versus the Eagles today. Lamb caught 12 of his 14 targets for 158 yards. A lot of people were questioning if CD Lamb could be a wide receiver 1 when Amari Cooper left there. He had 2 touchdowns last week in a 43-20 win over the Rams. In the last 2 weeks, CD Lamb has caught 19 targets for 275 yards. He's got 19 of 21 targets, man. This dude is definitely eating.
And speaking of those last 2 weeks, those stats equaled out to be fantasy point games of 44 points and 21.7 fantasy points in those last 2 games. And Philadelphia, CeeDee Lamb plays a lot in the slot. Philadelphia has allowed 11 double-digit fantasy games to wide receivers playing in the slot this year. So I also expect CeeDee Lamb to have one of the biggest games in fantasy football at the wide receiver position in Week 9.
Let me ask you something about that Philadelphia defense real quick. Do you think that the addition of Kevin Byard and then moving James Bradbury a little bit around, putting him in the slot like how they did against y'all, do you think that pass defense can get better towards the back half of this year?
I do. No, I don't think it's necessarily going to be an instant thing. And, it's interesting because I kind of like to use the philosophy that you use for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like an offensive line. The best offensive line is a decisive quarterback. Mm-hmm. I think that the best secondary is a get to the quarterback front.
That's very true.
I think that, once Philadelphia can start getting, because they started off really well early in the season as far as getting to the quarterback, and I mean obviously that helps if you play Washington. But I think that once they start
one time last game,
yeah,
though, right?
one time last game.
Good job for y'all.
So I think that that will help them as well. And then once Byard kind of gets acclimated to the system and to getting into the groove, playing with those other guys in the secondary, I think you'll start to see that defense improve over time.
Yeah, that's facts. I like how people in the chat are bringing up their own top 3s and whatnot. Gregory said he's got Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs this week. I was thinking Stephon Diggs, but Josh Allen coming into this game banged up. I was like, hey, maybe that'll affect Stephon Diggs' game. There goes your first touchdown for the Miami Dolphins right there. Is that Cedric Wilson? Cedric Wilson Jr.
What a throw to
Yeah, more of a catch. I see what you're doing. I do this with my homie Sal a lot. You know that little pointing baby? I know what you're doing.
Just pushing a narrative. That's
just
all.
pushing a good narrative. Let me look at this throw one more time. Ooh, yeah, a little push off. It's not a bad throw. Better catch.
Yeah, I mean, but he threw it. The timing on that throw was really good. He had his back of his head was facing Tua when he threw it. He put it only where he could get it.
Better be like that in the NFL. My post corners in our 2-hand touch league was looking like that. The boy got game. You better tell Josie I'm ready to get back out here and play some ball, man. The boy got game. I don't know how these knees holding up though. I be going up them stairs. I got this house is so much bigger than my old house. When I go up these stairs, bro, it's a workout straight up.
Yeah, it's like Rice Krispie treats, you know.
I don't know if it's quite there yet.
Snap, crackle, and pop.
I'm still waiting on that 40-yard dash though, bro. You see how I got to talk about real football. You're like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the.
All right, it's time for rapid fire, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to pick each and every single game. We're going to pick the overs, the unders, and against the spreads. I've almost calculated everything, so I think I'm just going to add in this week, and then we're going to maybe make an announcement on Tuesday or Thursday and Sunday, because our Thursday picks are a little bit different than our Sunday picks sometimes. So I kind of, want to separate the two just to kind of give everybody a little bit of a vibe.
So we're going all Sunday?
I think I'm gonna do it all Sunday, and then I'll do it all Thursday record as well. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, the first game on the slate is going to be the Minnesota Vikings, who are 4-4. They are headed to Hotlanta to face the Falcons, who are 4-4, and they're 4-point favorites. There's a lot of fours going on here. The over-under is 47.5, which seems extremely high to me for these two teams.
You mean these two backups?
yeah, let's just say it, these two backups. Listen, I know so many players, okay? I can pull players from everywhere. But I'm also honest. I know absolutely nothing about this backup quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings.
Nothing at all. I mean, they did scoop up Joshua Dobbs, so I mean that you should probably see Dobbs playing here in a couple weeks. I think the Vikings are still trying to salvage their season here. Is this the hardest game to pick? Is this the hardest one to pick right now?
No. For me, it's easy. I'm gonna because Atlanta's defense is actually very good, statistic wise. So for me, that leans me towards Atlanta. And then you talked about the running game for Minnesota. So without Kirk Cousins, without a running game against this defense, it's to me, it seems like a layup. I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons to win this game. I'll take Minnesota to cover, though. Maybe the Atlanta only wins by field goal. And then I'm going to take the under 47.5.
I'm definitely with you on that. I'm taking the under 47.5 for sure here. The Falcons are fugazi at 4-4. I don't even know how they're sitting at 4-4 right now, man. It makes no damn sense. But man, I gotta take the Falcons. No Kirk Cousins, no Justin Jefferson. I gotta go Falcons. So I'll take the Falcons. I'll take the Falcons to cover the 4 as well.
Up next, as I just got breaking news across my phone, thank you, Mr. Schefter. Justin Fields is officially inactive for this next game. The Chicago Bears are 2-6. Ugh. They're headed to New Orleans. The Saints are 4-4. There's a lot of teams that are 4-4 or worse.
There's a lot of teams that are 2-6 too. You just said, yuck. My Giants sitting at 2-6, man.
The Saints are 9.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 41.5. Once again, I don't know how the hell you're getting to 41 points with these two teams. I'm going to take the Saints to win. I'm going to take the Bears to cover 9.5. I don't know how the Saints win by that many points. They always find a way to let teams back into games, or they have to come back. So I'm going to take the Saints to win, Bears to cover, and the under 41.5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the Bears will cover, but I'll take the Saints to win this. I'm going to actually take the over 41.5. Saints coming off a big game last week where they put up some good points against the Colts, I believe that was. So I think they'll be able to find a way to get into the end zone. Kamara back in that lineup definitely helps them out. I still think as one of the older running backs in the NFL too, because of the way that he's been utilized throughout his career, there's still a lot of tread on those tires for Alvin Kamara, man. I think he's one of the better running backs still in this league. Got off to the slow start with the suspension or whatever that was that kept him out a couple of games. But I like Kamara in this one. Give me the Saints. Give me the over. Bears cover.
All right, we got 2 more games before we get into some good ones. The next one's going to be the Los Angeles Rams. They are 3-5. They're headed to Lambeau, the frozen tundra, to face a 2-5 Green Bay Packers. The over-under in this game is a more realistic, disgusting 37.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
Tough, man. If Matthew Stafford was playing in this game, I think it's an easy pick for the Rams here. Coming into this game with Brett Rippon at quarterback.
Yeah.
That's your boy's nephew, I believe.
Yep.
How's Brett Rippon still in the league? I don't know what's going on in the NFL. There's something going on here. I'm going to take the Packers to win this one. I think Jordan Love will have a better game. Won't be quite a bounce back game, but I'll take the Packers in this one. I'm going to take the under 37.5.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to cover. I will take the over 37.5. And our next yuck versus yuck. The Washington Commanders are 3-5.
Surprise.
They are headed up to face the New England Patriots, who are 2-6. The Patriots are somehow, I have no idea how, 3-point favorites. The over-under in this game is a little bit more respectable, 40.5 points. Authentic, tell me what you got. I know what you got.
I'm winging it over here, man. I'm going to keep it real with you, man. Like, these two teams, is another tough matchup here. You don't know which kind of team you're going to get from the Commanders. Their offense has been fairly consistent. Patriots as well. I mean, they did put up that big W against the Bills, but outside of that, they're just not a good team. So I don't want y'all to win.
I know.
I'm an honest person here. I don't want y'all to win. Misery loves company. I want y'all to be at the bottom of the division with my New York Giants so that things can start to pan out the way I envisioned them at the beginning of the year. I'm going to go ahead and take the Patriots in a W here, man. And I think Bill Belichick owes me a dub for that craziness you said on that podcast about you want nothing to do with Mr. Bill Belichick himself. I think he watches Awthentik and The Beard on a regular basis. He was not feeling those comments you said about him.
The rumors are flying even more now. Apparently, he's here looking for a house in D.C. recently.
I heard. I mean, that would be amazing. That would be amazing for you guys. You guys need a good head coach over here. Ron Rivera's losing the marbles, man.
He's gone. We all know Ron Rivera won't be here next year. It's just I don't want Bill Belichick to replace him.
You heard him, Bill. Bill in the chat.
I'm sorry, Bill. Listen, no disrespect. You're one of the best to ever do it. But
ain't that the craziest thing though when somebody disrespect the hell out of you and then they be like, no disrespect, bro. Like, give me the Patriots in this one, man. I think the Patriots will cover the 3, and I'm going to take the over because Washington does tend to put up points, and to beat them, you're going to have to put up some points. I'm
going to take the Washington Commanders to win this game, of course. I'm contemplating taking the over because I don't think the Patriots scored more than 14 points. So that means that we would have to score 27. Yeah. Oh yeah. Give me the over 28-14, somewhere around there. Washington Commanders over the New England Patriots. Up next, probably one of the better games, and it's the first game I think that we've talked about today where both teams actually have a winning record, or any team has a winning record. None of the games that we have talked about so far features a team with a winning record. So, the Seattle Seahawks, they're 5-2. They're headed down to Baltimore, face the Ravens, who are 6-2. The Ravens are surprisingly 6-point favorite. That's kind of, I thought it would be a little bit more of a 3.5-er. Yeah. But Baltimore is a 6-point favorite. Over-under is 44.5. Kickoffs at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to win, but I think Seattle covers that 6. That 6 seems a little sketchy to me. I'm going to take the under 44.5. I think we get a little bit more of a defensive battle. Probably something like 21-17.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over. I think the Ravens win this one close. I think they're going to cover. 31-24 Baltimore Ravens. Like I said, 2 touchdowns through the air from my man Lamar Jackson. 1 on the ground, and one of those is definitely going to my guy, OBJ. I'm telling you, I had the omen. I opened it. There was golden light coming out of the box on the Odell jersey. Give me the Ravens.
All right, up next, right back to the mix of non-winning teams. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3-4. They're headed down to H-Town to face the Texans, who are also 3-4. The Texans.
I like that.
The Texans are 3-point favorites. Over-under in this game is surprisingly low.
Mahomes with the fumble.
Fumble. 39.5. Kickoffs at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
So before I get off into this game, when you think about H-Town, you remember their record?
They're 3-4.
Song-wise.
Oh, no, I do not remember the record.
Yeah, H-Town. Yeah, that's for my OGs out there, man. Knocking the boots, right? That was the record, knocking the boots. Give me the Bucs in this one, man. I think Baker's going to come out here and play another good game on the road. I kind of gave y'all some points about why he was in my sleeper section this week. the Houston Texans are a better team than a lot of people anticipate, and I think a lot of that has to do with C.J. Stroud, the quarterback position. Tank Dell, I tried to scoop Tank Dell off the waivers this past week. Some goon got him in our league, really bothered me. I really wanted to pair him up with CJ.
Our league is full of goons.
It is, man. I mean, they're just cuffing Baker Mayfield. I went to try to get Baker Mayfield. He's on somebody's bench. They're just cuffing everybody out there. But give me the over 39.5 in this one, and give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers outright.
I'm going to take the Houston Texans to go out there and knock some boots, okay? You haven't take the Texans to win. I'm going to take the Texans to cover the spread, and I'm going to take the over 39.5. They win by 6 today. That's where I'm going with that. Hey, look, we found a team that has a winning record, but they're also facing a team that is one win. That's the Arizona Cardinals. They're 1-7. Shout out to the graphics department. They are headed to Cleveland. They're 4-3, the Browns, and they are 12.5-point favorites. I don't know about this. The over-under is 38.5. So that means that they basically think that I don't even want to do the math here. I'm gonna take the Cardinals. The Cardinals have Clayton Tune playing quarterback.
That's the tough part. That's probably why that spread is like that.
Yeah. Against that Cleveland defense.
Yeah. 12.5 is a lot.
This is disgusting. I'm gonna take the Browns to win. I'll take the Cardinals to cover. I'll take the under 38.5. I think Arizona scores a defensive touchdown in this game.
I'm going to go ahead and take the Cleveland Browns to cover 12.5. I mean, they ain't got no quarterback over there. Things are ugly over there. And that defense is definitely ferocious, one of the top defenses in the league. So give me the Browns to cover the 12.5. 38.5, I'll go with the under. I think the Cardinals get a field goal in this game.
Oh, man, this is going to be good. All right, here we go. Another two. Jeez, what did happen to the NFL? Where are the wins?
Where are the wins? Philadelphia.
The Colts are 3-5, another below 500 team.
Jesus.
They're going down to Carolina to face another one-win team, the Panthers, who are 1-6. How the over-under in this game is 44.5 is beyond me, but here we are, 44.5 point over-under. Authentic, tell me what you got here.
I mean, I'm going to go with the Colts here, man. I think Gardner Minshew has been playing good, serviceable football. He can win games. He's pretty much a, serviceable kind of game manager type of style of quarterback. I like what he's doing in place of Anthony Richardson, who is pretty much out for the year with the surgery. Give me the Colts. I got to take the under 44.5. They'll cover the 2.5.
I'm right there with you. Give me the Colts minus 2.5, and I'll take the over 44.5. It's really interesting to me how some of these teams have there's 30s, and then this game right here, you give me 44.5 of these defenses that bad. I guess we're going to find out. Up next, another couple of teams under 500. The New York Giants are 2-6. They're headed to Vegas to face the Raiders, who are 3-5. The Raiders are 1.5-point favorite. That's disrespectful. The over-under in this game is disgusting, 37.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the New York Giants. New York Giants to win. I'll take the under 37.5.
Come on, take that over. We definitely going to get there today, man. I think it's going to start with Saquon Barkley on the ground. Then it'll get that Raiders defense off balance. Just don't let Max Crosby wreck this damn game. That will be a big problem here. Daniel Jones coming back. They saying that he still had some pain in his neck going into this game. I do not want to see him take any hits. You got no Darren Waller, Tyrod Taylor, and himself are both on IR. This should be heavy Saquon Barkley and then some bootlegs from Daniel Jones to find his way in the end zone. I'm going to take the over 37.5, and the Giants are going to win this one outright.
Marjorie, is Matt Barkley elevated to the active roster, or are you guys still rolling with Danny DeVito as the backup here?
Danny DeVito.
That's what I want to know, because I think you touched on it last week, maybe on Twitter. I cannot wait for the day
I
that
don't
we
think
see
Matt Barkley got elevated, but
Barkley
man,
to Barkley.
Listen, if we got to see DeVito to anybody again, it's not going to be a good thing for the New York Giants. Okay?
All right, we got some winning teams playing against each other in the next game. How about them Dallas Cowboys? They're 5-2. They're headed to Philadelphia to face the Eagles, who are 7-1. The Eagles are 3-point favorites. Over-under in this game is 46.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles. Give me the Eagles to cover. and I will take the over 46.5.
Yeah, I'm taking the over 46.5 as well, but I'm going Dallas Cowboys. There's a lot on the line here. I said this about Lamar Jackson, and if Dak Prescott wants to be in those conversations of big-time players making big-time plays and big-time moments, this is the game for him to do that. This is the first time we're going to get to see Dak Prescott going up against Jalen Hurts in a real fashion here with Jalen Hurts as the starter. This is a big game, and we know that the Philadelphia Eagles have only lost 2 games in like the past 25 with Jalen Hurts at the quarterback position. 1 loss to Washington, 1 loss to the Jets. I think the third one is going to happen today to the Dallas Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys.
That's kind of crazy when you really put it into perspective. Like that has, like, you know, there's always a debate about wins and is it a quarterback stat and this and that. But I mean, you have to give a guy credit for losing 2 games as a starter, basically. Like, I mean,
facts. It's
kind of crazy. But shout out Jalen Hurts. That game is probably going to be the best game of the day, easily, no questions asked.
I hate that it's at the same time in the Giants window, man. I really hate that.
Up next, another great game. It's going to be the night game. That's going to be the Buffalo Bills, who are 5-3. They are headed to Cincinnati to face the Bengals, who are 4-3. The Bengals are 2.5-point favorites. Over under in this game is 50.5. Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
Now we cooking with hot grease right now. That's what I'm talking about.
No 36.5 points. We're talking 50 burger .5.
Yeah,
okay?
I like it.
Who you got, Awthentik?
I'm taking the Bengals, man. I feel like normally I would pick the Bills in this situation, but I've learned my lesson about picking against Joe Burrow and this Bengals team. Jamar Chase coming in extremely hot this week. I got to go with the Cincinnati Bengals in this one. I do think we get to over the 50.5, and I think that the Bengals are going to cover the 2.5.
I'm right there with you. Give me the Bengals. Give me the Bengals to cover, and I'm taking the over. Should be an exciting game. I'm sure they're going to do something, some sort of tribute, obviously, for Hamlin, who's going to be returning. You know, this is basically a little bit, not necessarily a whole calendar year, but basically a year. So it should be interesting to see what the NFL puts together for that. But
was that game in Cincinnati when that happened? That was, huh?
It was in Cincinnati. So good. This should be a really good game. I'm glad we're getting a good night game here for sure. Yeah. Monday night game, maybe not so much. The Los Angeles Chargers, they're 3-4.
What do you mean, man?
How the Chargers have a worse record than the Jets is beyond me right now. The Chargers are 3-4. They're 3.5-point favorites. They're headed up to New York to face Jets, who are 4-3. Out of all these teams that we have talked about today that have losing records, here are the Jets at 4-3.
Yeah.
Over under 39.5. Yeah. And they're talking about maybe Aaron Rodgers. You know, he's doing some of that Hasamadika Maduka drug. Talking about he's coming back Christmas. That's
I've been hearing this. This is kind of wild.
Miracle on 34th Street. That's what that sounds like. Give me the Chargers. Give me the Chargers to cover. I'm going to take the over. I think Garrett Wilson has a big game in this game. I think that the Jets make it a better game than I think most people imagine. I think Garrett Wilson goes over 100 yards and a touchdown in this game.
Garrett Wilson has definitely been playing some really good football, man. The Chargers are such a surprising team, man. They're supposed to be really making that run, and I don't know if it's Kellen Moore. I don't know what's going on with this defense. Brandon Staley's supposed to be a defensive-minded head coach. It just really has not been working out. It's the last game of the week. I haven't picked really no real upsets.
Well, it's hard to pick upsets when everybody has a losing record.
That's facts. That's facts, especially all those matchups. I mean, we got 3 now at least that featured winning records from at least one team, 3 back-to-back there. Do I want to take the Jets? I can't do it. Chargers definitely their offense is going to be too potent. I think they'll be able to put the ball in the end zone. The over-under 39.5, I think we'll be under that. Jets are going to struggle to score points. Their offense looked pathetic against the New York Giants last week. So, yeah, give me the Chargers in this one. And I think they'll cover the 3.5, but give me the under.
All right, shout out to Miami Dolphins. They've made it a game. It's 21-14 now. We got a couple more questions, and then we'll get you guys out of here in time to kind of, make some last-minute bets, adjust your fantasy lineups, and also catch the end of this Dolphins and Chiefs game. So it should be a lot of fun here. All right, big shout-out to the Spice Malang. Spice Malang. Darrell Henderson or Devin Singletary? Melange? Maybe. Melange. Shout out to the Spice. Darrell Henderson or Devin Singletary? I'm taking Darrell Henderson all day.
Yeah, I'm taking Henderson all day.
What did you say before that?
Malonge?
Malonge?
Yeah, I don't think it's Malang because Lang will never end in an E, but that's
the
normally.
E could be silent, right?
You tell me any other word that's spelled like that, but maybe it is the Spice Malang. Lang, I think of PG Lang. I think of Kendrick Lamar's label. There's no E at the end.
Okay, we're gonna ride. We're gonna authentic. We're gonna ride with that. And big shout out to our guy, Lingerie. Shout out Crypto Moves for the $4.20 super chat. Says wish Adoree was traded too. Smoking that Raiders pack.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We got to smoke some Raiders pack today for sure, man. And Adoree, man, when I think about trading him, it's that last play against the Jets, man. That pass interference, bro. That could have been. I think I could have played better coverage. My man just never turned around and he just put both hands up like this and prayed to God he didn't hit the wide receiver. You should never be in that position in the NFL, man. The game is coming down to the line there. Get your head around, man. Try to make a play. I'd rather see you get beat deep on a play than get a pass interference to just end the game there and put them in a field goal position to get a chip shot. And Leonard Williams got his hand on that game-winning field goal, man. He got a finger on it. It still went through the uprights, though, man. So unfortunate for the Giants. I think that one's going to cost us our hopes at making it to the playoffs this year, man. But I'm still clinging on to that 8-9 record and a playoff berth for the New York Giants.
All those records that we talked about today, all those teams, it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, this is how I called in the beginning of the year. I didn't think we were going to beat the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. And all these other games, Bills, San Francisco 49ers, Miami Dolphins, Dallas Cowboys, I didn't think we were going to win those games. So we're sitting at 2-6 where I thought we would be. And if this Giants team wants to show any resilience, they got to dig themselves up out of this hole right now.
Yeah. Big shout out to Kevin in PRF says Rashad Bateman or Jalen Hyatt.
Rashad Bateman. Look, Daniel Jones is back in the lineup. He don't like targeting Jalen Hyatt anyway. Last week, Jalen Hyatt had 0 targets for his 3rd game of the year. It's really like boom or bust for Jalen Hyatt. He's got to get the big play. And I don't see that happening today against the Raiders defense, which is a top 10 pass defense. They're probably going to rely on the run heavy today. So I'm going Rashad Bateman, which ain't that much better of an option, but I think it's a better option.
Flip the coin, but I think Awthentic makes a great point there. So we're probably going to tell you to both go Bateman. Shout out to all the linguists in the chat. Stardox Connection says Mulange.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
And then Crypto Move says it sounds like. See, this doesn't help me as much. I don't even know if I know how to say this. Melanche.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cernak on this one. Melange. Yeah, like l'argent. You know what l'argent means?
No, but I know it's Haitian. Money.
Give me that paper.
The money. Give me that paper. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you guys got a whole hour here, okay? Get your fantasy football lineups ready, okay? Oh, okay. Not moo. Melange.
Yeah, not like Moulin Rouge. Melange. Yeah, I think that's what it is too. I'm with that.
Yeah, it's going to be a interesting week here. Shout out to all the Giants, Cowboys, Eagles, and Commanders fans in the chat as always. We hope you guys can find some winning ways when it comes to fantasy and those NFL bets. We're going to let Awthentic, send you guys on your way here.
Salute, man. We definitely appreciate all y'all pulling up today, man. It's good to have some early football and to be well-rested. Shout out to the gods with the daylight savings vibes today, man. I'm feeling energized right now, man. Still waiting on Washington Gas to get their dumbasses over here and turn this heat on, man. It's been a little interesting in here with space heaters and whatnot, and having to travel to take a good hot shower. It has not been fun, but we getting there. We definitely getting there. Appreciate all y'all rocking with us through this whole move that I've had to do. We're finally settled in here, man, so should be on the up and up from here on out, and some pre-recorded videos coming out. Today, I will be on Bleacher Report after the New York Giants game. That should be around 7:30. Keep your eyes peeled for that link, man. That should be a good time. Pull up, show your boys some love. I need some support over there with that community. That community's kind of harsh, man. These dudes they've been getting at me over there, man. They've been definitely getting at me. And I got some trolls from Twitter that are following me over there. They trying to mess with my bottom line. They trying to mess with my bottom dollar, Beard. I'm not having it. Don't let me find you in the streets like I heard somebody say in a Twitter Spaces yesterday. He said,
I saw your tweet about that.
I'm going to F you up, bro. I was like, golly, yo, we getting real serious, emotional over this football stuff, man. But best of luck to my Giants today, man. Best of luck to the Bears Commanders, even though I want them to be in the bottom of the division with your boy one time. But y'all know what it is, man. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, Combat Jack. I heard my man Joe Button shout him out on the podcast the other day. That was awesome to hear, man. Combat Jack, one of the pioneers in this urban space as far as hip-hop podcasting goes. So salute to him, man, and rest in peace again. Y'all be good. Enjoy y'all football. And best of luck with y'all fantasy today, man. I know I'm going to need it, man, after that Will Levis performance, yo. So y'all enjoy y'all Sunday football and y'all Monday football. Big game on Sunday night here. We'll catch y'all on Monday on the Giant Overreaction at 1 p.m. and on Tuesday for the recaps at 7 p.m. Same place, similar times. Y'all be good, man. Enjoy y'all ball. Peace.